What is up, guys? We are back once again, and we are finally going to be reviewing another movie I did not think I was actually going to be watching, but I ended up watching it. Doctor Sleep, the sequel to The Shining in 1980. Finally, after all these years, we finally got a sequel. The Stephen King novels that now star Ian McGregor as Dan Torrance, who is the little boy that, of course, the son to Jack Nicholson's character, and this is the continuation of his story. Now, this entire story was really hard. Not, I don't know if you'd say hard, but once you get, like, I would say 3/4 of the movie, you have more of an understanding of what's going on. And if I would say, first off, if you guys have not seen the movie, go check it out and let me know what you guys think when you come back. But also, if you are fans of this movie, let me know what you guys thought about it. But overall, this had a huge lineup, and I'll get to that here later on in the video. But we have where the character Dan starts off as a kid, and we have other characters that are somehow young children being abducted by this lady in the hat, and her name is Rose. And we find out later on in the movie that she is some kind of has the Shining as well, and that is what Dan calls it. It's called the Shining. He's able to talk to different spirits. He's able to see different spirits, like we did see in the very first film. Now, apparently, he has been struggling with alcoholism and trying to deal with his gift, and he doesn't know how to handle it. He is a boy, but then later on figures out, after meeting another friendly spirit, teaches him how to basically put these evil spirits or these evil entities, wherever you want to call them, in a box, and it works for him for a remainder of his life. But then he comes across a little girl by the name of Abra, who is incredibly powerful, who she has a Shining as well, and she's picked up the radar of the character Rose and her little gang, because they go after children and they kill them and they suck their essence slash the Shining out of them. And what happens is we see another character that she finds that is using her gift in another way, and they enjoy it, but she uses it for her own advantage, and she makes like a little gang to where that if you, I guess, pretty much like suck on the essence, like eat the essence or the Shining, however you want to call it, on these individuals that they feed on, and then they put in a container, and if you feed on it, then you become like them, you live however long. And she had this big group that was going after all these bunch of kids, and they finally get the on Abra's radar. And Abra, you know, she is a very powerful young lady. She's incredibly powerful for her age, because we do see where she's 13 when she meets Ian McGregor's character Dan, who has been now 8 years sober, because we go from 81 after the events of the first film, and then we go into how he learned to be a almost like a doctor working at a hospital of different ones that were almost like a retirement home, and he dealt with a lot of elderly people that kept dying, but he kept meeting, and he was using his gift to the best of his abilities. But then now that he is getting almost like this pen pal, like he first called it Abra, but this is before he met her, and then when he does meet her, she explains to him what's going on, her being connected to different victims that are dying. She doesn't understand, so he finally tells her, look, you cannot keep doing this, you can't, you know, once you get on their radar, they're going to find you. And they do, and now she enlists him to help her, and when they finally start working together, they go on this journey to take on these evil forces down. But what's really interesting, again, if you're a fan of the original film, that they actually take you back to where it all began, because when at the very end of them taking on the entire group, he basically takes Aber back to where it all started, the hotel, and we finally see a lot of familiar spirits. You know, the twins, the different characters that we saw in the first film. Now, again, I don't remember too much of the first film. I don't. I mean, I did watch it, but I can't remember too much of it, so I may have to go back and watch it. But we do see a almost like a familiar face. We see like a version of Jack Nicholson in this movie, which was very interesting. Like when he was extremely young. Like obviously, they're showing that that is his spirit when he was younger. So we do see a menage between himself and his his dad, and then we see where things kind of go further in, where he has to basically, in a way, pass on the torch to Abra because he knows with him doing this that we are not going to be dealing with the same thing. We're not going to be that. It's going to be going in the same events, almost like, but just a different character if they're going to be continuing this film. I don't want to give too much away, but if they continue this for a third film, this gives us more of a look into what The Shining is, that you can have all kinds of different abilities. It just depends on how you use them, and how you use them defines who you are. You can attract spirits, good, bad, and then also the ones that are using their gifts for evil, they can go into the other side and continue to do evil. And that's pretty much what these spirits that Ian McGregor's character has put into his mind in boxes to hold them off, all the ones that we see in the film. And it's really interesting because, again, if you haven't seen the film in so long, you may have to watch the first film to be able to understand fully what's going on in this film. Because again, it took me a little while to fully understand what was going on because I hadn't seen the first film in so long. So again, I may have to go back and rewatch it just so I can have a little more of a clarification of, okay, yeah, I remember that, or okay, now this makes sense, okay, that makes sense. But there was a long standing of different actors and actresses into this film, and I will say that the acting was very well done. Seeing Ian McGregor in a different kind of light, I would say, in a horror film was a little different. I mean, I'm very, me being a fan of his, I'm very more like with the drama or the action, different movies like that. But we did have him. We had Rebecca Ferguson, who plays Rose as the Hat. We have Carl Lumbly, who comes back, I'm assuming. We have Zan McLaren in here. We have Cliff Curtis that joins this film. Emily Aladdin. We have the man who played Lurch himself, Carl Strucken, who played in this. We have Danny Lloyd. We got Henry Thomas. We got a long list of different actors and actresses who made guest appearances if you are fans of horror films or any kind of films in general. So there was a lot of familiar faces that would make you go, oh wow. But overall, a very enjoyable movie. For horror-wise, is it the best horror movie? No. Is it a good thriller? Yes, it is. 1 out of 10, I'd have to give it maybe probably an 8.5. I just wanted more clarification on what The Shining is. This movie really makes you think on what The Shining is, what it can do, what the endless possibilities are, that there's more of these types of individuals out there in this world, as well as what's going to happen to the future of the franchise and where it leads now. Because again, it was years before we got a second film. So now that this film has been done, and this came out, I believe it was 2019 this film came out. So now just is clarification on, okay, when is there going to be a third film, or I'm not sure if a third book has been written. I'm going to have to look into that. But overall, I would say a very enjoyable movie. Go watch it on HBO Max if you're able to, or Hulu, or buy the DVD, or watch it online for free if you're able to. But either way, very enjoyable film. Let me know what you guys thought about it down in the comments down below. If you guys are new to the channel, consider about subscribing. If you guys are new to the channel, always consider about subscribing. Leave a big fat like on the video. It would help greatly against the YouTube algorithm, as well as also let me know what your thoughts were about the film if you got to see it. Also, click notifications if you guys are new to the channel. And as always, see you guys on the very next one.